Grand Rising, y'all. Intuitive Goddess 511 here. I'm just going to share some stories today. My trauma tales, things I've written down. This was just like a little diary entry. I wrote it Friday, August 12th, 2022. Can I pinpoint the exact day my inner child became a little more adult-like? No. Can I pinpoint the exact day my light shone just a little less bright? Not really. Can I tell you what hour her smile faded when her dreams went from assured to unsure? Nope. Was it the first time Shadow Man touched her in a place that even her 6-year-old self knew was wrong? Was it the day her younger sister destroyed her plaster hand? How she loved to water it like a plant. Now her unique palm and fingerprints just swirl around in a puddle to be trashed, like most everything in her life. Was it the day one of her best friends related the color of her skin to urine? Piss yellow was the hue she described. Was it the day on the bus where the 2 older boys, what were their names? I think it was John or Josh Henty. No, Jason Henty? And what was the other one? Can't even remember. Guess it doesn't matter. Was it that day where they called her a bitch and a nigger? Was it the day Mike Shepard told her he didn't go to dances and then went to that same dance with her younger sister, then began dating that same sister? Was it the day she was almost struck on the sidewalk walking to the store for cigarettes for her mother? Was it a separate trip to the store where she saw an altercation, presumably over a girl, between 2 men that ended with a cracked head bleeding out over the pavement for the loser in that fight? Was it when her favorite aunt in the whole world couldn't bring her into her own mother's house for a visit because her aunt, who's white, and whose parents were white, her white father didn't like black people? So here I am, this little, I don't know how old I was, 4, 5, 6. You can't go in, baby. You gotta wait in the car. Story of my life. You can't go in. Not sure. All I know is that it takes one strong woman to go through all the traumas listed here and many not written down and not give up. I will take the occurrences in my life. I will record them in an interesting and creative way. I will be vulnerable enough to share my story, the truth as I remember it, turning pain into paid. I always said our family put the fun in dysfunction. Now I will use what was meant to break me to break through the glass ceiling I limited myself with. I am all-powerful. I am love. I am beautiful. I am changed. I am a survivor, a healer, a giver. I'm finally learning what life is truly about. I am poetry in motion, a superb creator, part of all creation. I am a success. Which story shall I read? Which trauma tale shall we go through today? Well, I just read you heard in that diary entry. There was a time, like I said, whenever I went to the store when I was younger, it seemed like some mess would happen. This was about when I was around 8 years old. Around there. I'm walking to the store. Here we go. Let's get into it, right? She woke from the recurring nightmare. Her sheets had long ago stopped finding themselves sweat-drenched. She was accustomed to the fear now. She wasn't sure she could actually still classify it as a nightmare any longer. She really wasn't that scared anymore. She had come to expect the night terror. She had shared the dream with her best friend when she began having it on a regular basis a year ago. Her friend assured her it was nothing to fear, silly really. But her friend couldn't feel the way the dream left her anxious and with an unsettled knot in her stomach. She always felt like something had been taken from her when she awoke. Something good. Something innocent. She stood and stretched. She tiptoed to the bedroom window and parted the slats. The day was gray and overcast. It suited her mood. Weatherman wrong again. They'd called for sun, sun, sun all day long on the previous night's news. It was still mid-August in the urban jungle, though, and the clouds overhead did nothing to ease the humidity and heat. Still a t-shirt and shorts day. She hoped it would rain. To sneak out and let the raindrops pummel her face, cleansing away any leftover bad juju from the dream would be heavenly right now. Sure, she'd hear it from her mother later, but it was worth it. Every time. It was worth it. She left the blinds and walked to her dresser quietly so as not to wake her sister. She loved her, but she could be such an annoyance. I mean, whose baby sisters aren't? She wanted to relish this alone time in the morning. She grabbed her favorite blue Oshkosh Bagosh overall shorts and the orange shirt with the most beautiful floral decal on her chest. This was her favorite outfit since receiving it a few months ago on her birthday, and she would wear it every day if she was allowed. She considered it her happy clothes. She just felt extra joyful when she had them on. As she snapped the left hook button into place, then the right, her bladder reminded her that it had been 8 hours since it was last emptied. She journeyed to the bathroom to let nature take its course. She relieved herself uneventfully, planned her day in her head, and as she washed her hands, she glanced at the clock above the fridge in the kitchen. 7:45. Perfect. A bowl of Cap'n Crunch, and then Saturday morning cartoons on ABC until noon. Then, hopefully, a weekend special. She hated when they went directly into professional golf or bowling. Boring. It was okay, though, because today looked to be shaping up to be an inside day, and she had 3 newly checked-out Babysitters Club books to keep herself busy with after the cartoons went off. She poured her bowl and went to the fridge, only to discover that there was no milk. Dang it. Now she had to wait for her mom to get up. That could be over an hour of waiting, because she had come into their 3rd-story apartment late last night, playing cards with her girlfriend downstairs. At least that's what she told the girls. She had made the mistake of waking her mom after a late night about a year ago, and that didn't end well. She'd been screamed at and cursed out for at least 20 minutes. 10 minutes into the 3rd repetition of, "You girls are always bothering me. Just let me rest. I do it all for you, and you won't even let me sleep in. Blah, 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 blah." She resolved to never wake her mom again, even if the apartment was on fire. Just as she was about to eat the cereal dry, her mother's door opened. She shuffled out in her robe, wild fro untamed about her head. Before she could blink at her daughter bleary-eyed twice, the girl made her request. "Please, Ma, can I have money for milk? We're out." She crossed her fingers behind her back, praying for a yes. Her mom shook her head up and down, sleepily, and then croaked out in her morning voice that still needed time to wake. "Yeah, I need some cigarettes, too. Let me write you a note. Give me a minute to wake up." The girl wrinkled her face in disgust as the bathroom door closed behind her mom. She hated buying cigarettes and beer for the grown-ups. Now I'm a smoker myself. Hey, we learn what we live, right? All the movies they watched in school said that stuff was awful for you. Mom herself admitted she needed to quit, but she never did. She didn't mind as much this morning, though, because she really wanted the milk. By now, the kitchen clock read 8 a.m. The new adventures of Winnie the Pooh were starting. She went into the living room and snapped on the TV. Pooh and Piglet slowly came into focus on the screen. She smiled as Pooh rubbed his belly and proclaimed that he was rumbly in his tumbly. Me too, the girl thought, as her stomach growled a bit in agreement. She hoped her mom would hurry. She padded quietly back into her bedroom as the commercial break began, grabbed some loose leaf from her binder and a pen for her mother to write the note with. Her sister was still sleeping. Good. Back into the kitchen where her mom was now seated at the table built for 4. She handed her mother the paper and pen. She knew exactly what it would say. Her mom began all notes to store clerks and teachers alike, to whom it may concern. I give permission for my daughter Shakisha to purchase a pack of Newport 100s for me. Thank you, Ms. Ruth Green. Then she folded it in half and then half again. The girl placed the note in her handy pocket on the front of her overalls and went to slip on her jellies. Plastic and sparkly and blue to match her outfit. They made her feet sweat, but she didn't care. All the girls in school wore them in the summer. Plus, she enjoyed the small click the heels made on the pavement. Hold on, her mom stopped her at the door. Let me brush your hair real quick. Make you presentable. I ain't raising no ragamuffin and going to let you walk out the door looking any kind of way. The girl sighed internally and tried not to let her impatience show. This was really cutting into cartoon time. Her mom returned with the brush, a water spray bottle, and the hair grease. She undid the girl's knockers and sprayed a couple squirts on the strands that had escaped and become unruly. The girl stood compliantly as her mother added some grease for hold and replaced the knockers to contain the ponytail that was now presentable. She took the $20 bill her mother handed to her and placed it in the pocket with the note. Don't you lose that money now. It don't grow on trees, her mother admonished. The girl sighed again. Had she ever? She knew full well the consequences of misplacing money. She hadn't done it, but her sister had. She got the whooping of both their lifetimes. The girl guessed that's why she was sent all the time now. By now it was 8:30 and Pooh was gone until next week. A pup named Scooby-Doo was up. She loved that cartoon. Scooby-Dooby, Scooby-Dooby-Doo, Scooby-Dooby, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. I don't even know the words, but you know, something, something, something. Who's the coolest pup around? Okay, anyway. So yes, a pup named Scooby-Doo was up. She loved that cartoon. She would run to the store. She ran to the front door and as an afterthought popped her tiny head around before she shut it behind her. Ma, can I have $1 for candy, please? Her mom shook her head yes again, and the girl's heart did a little happy dance. This trip to the store was just getting better and better. She closed the front door and ran down the 3 flights of creaky wooden stairs as quietly as she could, which honestly wasn't that quiet. Just 1 block over and 2 blocks up, and the store was right there. She was kind of glad to be out so early. It felt like she had the whole city to herself. No cars whizzing by. The man who talked to houses and kind of creeped her out was not making his rounds yet. The neighbors all claimed he was a veteran who had seen his best buddy step on a landmine in war, and he hadn't been right since, but the girl wasn't sure. She felt sorry for the man, but he was creepy. Going from house to house, staring into first-floor windows, seeing a private show that no one else could see, and steady mumbling incoherently to himself. Just weird. She made it to the end of the block, no troubles. She zipped around the corner and made good time up the last 2 blocks as well. She had no watch, but she knew she would catch the last 10 minutes of Scooby-Doo. She entered the tiny grocery and walked to the milk cooler. Half-gallon of whole milk, check. Then to the candy aisle. 25 cents worth of Double Bubble, 50 cents worth of Airheads, and a box of Jolly Joes. She walked to the counter and let her purchases fall. She handed the note to the clerk. He grabbed the cigarettes and rang her out. She asked the time. He said 8:45. Yes, she would see the last 10 minutes. She ran out of the store and smack dab into trouble. Not even hers. 2 men, arguing on the street corner that she needed to walk down to return home. Their voices were raised and growing louder by the second. One man, dark-haired, mullet. The other, white blonde spikes adorning his crown. She wondered why they were disagreeing so early in the day. "You better stay away from my girl," Dark Mullet shouted. "Or what?" Blonde Spikes wanted to know. "Or I'll kick your ass," Dark Mullet said, blood flushing his face. "Yeah, okay, whatever," Blonde Spikes said. "She doesn't even want you anymore. You're such a loser. You sit on her couch all day drinking. Why don't you get a job?" With each sentence out of Spiky Blonde's mouth, Dark Mullet grew more crimson, and the girl thought his head might explode. She wished they would take their fight elsewhere. She didn't even want to walk by them. They were adults, and she the child, but she felt more mature than both at the moment. She shifted the paper bag in her hand and resolved to get plastic next time. At least there were handles. Spiky Blonde continued. "And she says you can't even get it up anymore. Keep smoking, Billy. Crack is making you a soft dick, no future having shithead." Dark Mullet had enough. He grabbed Spiky Blonde and with superhuman strength lifted him up over his head. Then he proceeded to dump Spiky Blonde on his head. He didn't even have time to protest the assault. His head made the most sickening thud crack as it hit the unforgiving cement. She watched as Dark Mullet's face went from enraged to fearful. He ran past her and down the street. He left the girl standing there, watching Spiky Blonde's hair go from white blonde to blood red, stained by his very own. She stood mesmerized as it pooled around him. His chest was still rising and falling faintly, but her eyes just watched the red puddle on the sidewalk grow and expand. She didn't know how long she stood there. 5 minutes? 10 seconds? The sirens got her moving. She had never been in trouble with the law, but sirens made her nervous. She was unfrozen by the sound of an approaching ambulance. The girl turned and went in the same direction Dark Mullet had run in. It was the long way home, but she didn't have the courage to walk past Spiky Blonde and all his blood. Her mother would want to know what took her so long, but she'd rather explain than pass too close to that bloody scene. She walked quickly home, not even overjoyed with her candy purchase any longer. The thought of Cap'n Crunch now made her stomach turn, and her detour would ensure that she would miss the rest of Scooby-Doo. It's okay, Scoob, gang. I know who did it. It wasn't Red Herring either, Freddy. It was Dark Mullet. And that's the end of that trauma tale. Just trying to work through this crap, y'all. Just trying to work through this crap. All the baggage, all the BS that's been thrown on me. Everybody projecting their energy on me, and me seeing my energy around them, which is why I thought all these people were good, when they were clearly just demons sent to knock me off my path. But I'm still here, yo. Indestructible. Indestructible. And for that, I thank the universe. I thank my ancestors. We're doing it, y'all. Generational curse breaker right here. It ends with me. Y'all have a good day. We'll see you later.